We've mentioned many times in our videos and in trainings that before we decide to embody, we choose certain situations that we want to experience and go through. But once we get here, we forget all about that. So how do we know what it is that we chose here to come and do and what we chose to go through? Well, stay tuned and we'll go through all of it with you. Part 2 of 3, life lessons. What's the next one, hon?
Well, we're talking about life lessons, and this refers to what? Just to do a quick recap.
Oh, okay.
Life
It
lesson
refers to what we decided to come here to learn in regard to balancing our karma, so that way we can continue to move forward on our journey.
All right, and in some cases it's referred to as karma, right? Like balancing karma.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the next one is let me see, failure. So how would you know that in this embodiment you chose to learn from failure?
Because nothing works out for you. You feel like every time you do something, it just completely fails.
Okay, that's one scenario. That's one way of looking at it. So let's delve into it a little deeper before we go to the next one, like the next scenario, I guess.
Okay.
Like what? When you say fail.
Okay.
So-
Relationships.
Okay.
Every time you start getting into a nice, happy, wonderful relationship, whether it be friendship or a romantic one, all of a sudden something happens and it ends.
All right.
That you might see that as a failure. Well, I failed because now we're no longer friends, or we're no longer, on the path toward getting married. What happened? Why does this keep happening to me? Every time I think something's going so great, it just ends.
So how is that a life lesson then for you? So remember, yes, you're experiencing that where things are not working out, but you're supposed to be learning something from it.
Right.
So what's the lesson from that?
That's a very good question to which I am struggling to find an answer.
Okay. So is it possible then that maybe if you were to review the relationships, you might find something in common? You're using relationship as an example, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And whatever that common is, whatever that common aspect is, that's what you're supposed to be working on. Maybe that's what causes your relationships not to work.
Okay. Yes, that's possible. Yep.
What are possible things that could affect a relationship in a negative way?
Not working together, like little cooperation. One person just always takes from the other and doesn't give back in the relationship.
Okay. So what would you call that? Like being selfish?
Yes, being selfish.
That's selfishness.
Yes, that's selfishness.
That's pretty much what it is.
Right.
What else could there be? Could it be that someone, because of lack of self-love, is always looking for attention from the other person, and they feel the person has to give them attention, and the person, if they feel the person is not giving them attention, then the person doesn't love them, doesn't care about them.
Right,
so now,
that could be another scenario.
Right? So what will be the life lesson there?
They need to learn to love themselves.
Exactly. You can't depend on people to love you. You know? Why would you depend on someone to love you? And you're going to have your day go based on how someone feels about you, or how you think someone feels about you.
Yes, that's
well, let's
not
use
good.
you and myself for an example.
Oh, okay.
Why? Why do you say it like that?
What's your example?
Myself.
Okay.
Right? How many times do I tell you that I love you?
Not often.
Right?
Right?
How comes you're still here?
Because you show me you love me. You don't have to say it.
Oh, I do show you that I love you. How do I show you I love you?
Yes, every now and again you let me hug you. kiss you, or we might cuddle sometime.
Every now and again. I'm probably drinking whiskey at that time. So here you are.
He's gotten much better.
But how comes you don't feel? Well, do you think I love you?
I know you love me. I don't think
Well, how
it.
do you know that after the things you just said? Okay, Valentine's Day just went by.
Yes.
What did you get from me for Valentine's Day?
Nothing. We don't celebrate it.
What?
We don't celebrate.
I think you've been brainwashed, is what it is.
I don't go for that mass consciousness stuff.
But you get the point?
Yes.
Someone else, though, could look at that and say, oh, he does not love his wife at all. We've been married for many, many years, but we still have the greatest of time. But there are a lot of things that we don't do that other people have as expectations for like a perfect relationship.
Right.
And maybe that's another word, expectation.
Oh, that's where a lot of failure could come from, because people have expectations of something, and if their expectations aren't met, then they see it as a failure.
That's correct.
That happens a lot in business.
All right? So there goes that, and that's a good one. So, okay, you have the expectation, they're not met. Oh, I failed. I can't believe, I couldn't accomplish that, or whatever it is, right?
Right. Or I could see it happening with someone who's, like I used to be a perfectionist. And if I didn't get things right, it was a failure.
Okay. We're going to come to that, but since you jumped to that already, so go ahead.
Right. Go ahead.
No, about being a perfectionist. So, what do? Everything you do, you want it to be perfect, right?
Right.
And I don't know what your definition of perfect is, but do you think your definition of perfect is the same as mine?
No.
So what makes you think that it will ever be perfect?
See, in my mind, if it's the way I want it, it's perfect.
So now you work on something and it meets your expectation of perfect, right? And then you show it to somebody and then the person points out one thing. So, maybe if you had made that color green, it'd have been better. How are you feeling now?
Terrible. Because now it really isn't perfect, and I didn't notice that.
Got it? So if you're behaving that way, what does that tell you? You're here for a life lesson in what? How to deal with what?
How to deal with
Failure.
Yes, failure.
That's what it is. Failure, right?
Right.
But then there are other ways. Let's say, for example, you're given a task to do. Then what do? You want to go through everything. You spend hours and hours reviewing it so many times because you're afraid that maybe you made a mistake. You want to make sure that by the time you hand it off to somebody, there are no mistakes whatsoever.
Right.
And then you hand it off and they say, oh, you misspelled this word. How do you feel now?
Failure.
But did you really fail?
No.
No. Right? So you made a mistake. Okay, next time use the spell checker. That way it catches it, right?
Right.
And it's supposed to be a learning experience. Nothing is supposed to be defined as a failure or labeled as a failure because there's no such thing. If you learn from it, it's not a failure. All right? No, let me change that. Not that there's no such thing, but people do define things as failure because as far as they're concerned, it didn't work out the way they expected it to. That's all. That's what failure is. It didn't work out the way you expected it to work out. All right? So again, we should learn that, okay, just do what it is you're required to do and know that there'll be adjustments that have to be made. See, I didn't say failure, right?
Right.
I said adjustments.
Right. Learn
So,
to adjust.
Very important.
Okay. What's next?
The next one is family.
Oh.
And we're talking about not your immediate family, the one that you're born into.
The family that you're born into.
Right. I guess maybe immediate. What's immediate family?
That's
right?
immediate family.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you're talking about the family that you create.
No, that God created.
Well, that you're
the mother of.
Yes, or father of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about that family.
Okay.
Even
we're
though
talking
it
about
could be that too, but we're talking about the family you're
parents
born into.
and siblings.
Because remember, it's your embodiment. You're embodying, right? So you're embodying into a family. You're choosing a family to embody into.
Okay.
So what would be the life lesson there? And how would you know that your life lesson is how to deal with family?
Oh, well, I would think if there's a lot of fighting, a lot of dysfunction, as it's called in the family, where they don't get along, then you've got a lesson to learn about family.
What would a lesson be?
How to love one another, no matter, and respect them, no matter what they think or do.
Okay. What do you?
I'm guessing.
No, you're not guessing. That makes sense. One of the things that we do as human beings is we think that we're the only ones that know the right answer, right? Our answer is the right one. Everybody else's is wrong.
Okay.
Our perspective is right. The other people, they don't know what they're thinking. They don't know what they're talking about. That's the attitude.
Got it.
And that always poses a challenge. That's why I always talk about brainstorm sessions. When you brainstorm, everybody throws their ideas out. They put it on paper, whatever it is, but there's no ownership to it. You know that it could change. Someone could modify it. And because of that, if someone says, oh, this is what you said, but I think I have a word that's better, and then they put their word out there. See, they think it's better, but then someone else could say, nah, that one doesn't work. Their feelings won't be hurt because they know that it's just a brainstorm session. Meaning just throw your ideas out there. Just put your ideas out there. Present your ideas, and we'll see what comes out best for everybody. And whatever is chosen doesn't reflect on any of the individuals whose idea wasn't chosen. It's not like one was smarter than the other. No, that's why theirs got chosen. It was just that we all got together and then we said, oh, this group makes more sense than that one. Finish. And that's the way we should look at everybody's perspective. Every person has his or her own perspective based on his or her own experience. So what do? We should always respect somebody's perspective. We don't argue their perspective. We don't try to convince them otherwise. If that's what they believe, then that's what they believe. If that's how they see things, that's how they see things. You're going to say, well, you're wrong, or, what makes you... No, you leave it alone. So with family, they have their own ways of seeing things. You're brought up in the same household, but for whatever reason, people always are different, right?
Yes.
They see things differently. And you know about that with the large family you have.
Yes. Yes, we all have different opinions and thoughts on how life should be and how people should live life and live their life. And I have learned to just say, you know what, you do what's right for you, I do what's right for me.
Done. And hopefully it's not in a dismissive way or in a negative way.
No, it's all in love for me. Because you know what's best for you, I don't.
Right? And that's how it should be. If you can do that, then the family dynamic is better. Because the arguing is not there. And if someone tries to start an argument, it won't go anywhere because you probably just say, okay. That's your perspective, great.
Yep.
You don't go, well, no, I disagree with that. There's nothing to disagree with.
Right. That's what they believe. That's their understanding. Done.
So how do you improve family dynamics? You accept, not accept, you respect everyone's perspective. It doesn't mean that you agree with it.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you accept it, but you respect it.
Yes.
And then that's it. And respect means that you don't go bring it up later on and say, I told you about that, or let's say they do something that doesn't work out. I say, didn't I tell you not to do that? You don't do that, right?
Right.
Respect is respect. You leave it alone. Okay? But you'll know that you're here for the life lesson of family because your biological family, the members, either you don't get along with them, they don't get along with you, the whole family, they don't get along at all. All right? So if you're experiencing like, oh, my life lesson is to make sure I get along with my family members. How do I do that? We just told you, hopefully. Right?
Right.
And we also have ways to help you with that through One Night Division. Okay? So if you want help on relationships, comes from there. Okay. The next one now is fear.
Oh. Fear.
Fear.
There are all kinds of fears. Okay, like fear of the unknown, fear of the dark, fear of water, fear of your relationships never working out. There are all kinds of fears.
All right, so now here's the thing, right? As Gautama Buddha said, or somebody said, if it's not Gautama Buddha, somebody said this. They said fear is not real. That's someone that's always fearful, they'll want to argue that, right?
Right.
But fear is not real. Where does fear come from?
I would think that we create it.
You create it.
Mm-hmm.
From where? From you not wanting to step out of your comfort zone. Going
Okay.
back to what you talked about, I think, in the first video. So here's the thing. Your priority should be to connect with your higher self,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
In order for that to happen, you have to know what pure love is. Because God is pure love.
Uh-huh.
Can you connect with God if you're filled with fear?
No, I don't think so.
It's impossible. Because first of all, your frequency will be one of fear. When God's frequency is love, the two don't mix. So if you want to connect with your higher self and with God, fear has to go. And it comes in many different ways, just like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, but the moment you surrender to it, the moment you allow fear to take over your life,
Mm-hmm.
then what happens?
Oh, if you're always living in fear, you're miserable. Well, to me, you're not happy.
Well, they might not see it that way, but you're stressed because you're always thinking about things going wrong, right?
Right.
So then you limit your possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you limit your growth because you're always afraid,
Right.
you know? So the bottom line here is this. Now, if you're afraid and then you're limiting your possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
how easy is your life?
It won't be very easy.
It will be difficult.
Right.
And then you wonder, well, why aren't things working out for me? Because you want to stay in your comfort zone. You're afraid to take that next step. And you're always envisioning things going wrong. And then again, what you focus on is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
So then those things come true, which then just confirm for you why you should be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about something, they happen. 1-800-PSYCHIC-LINE. Right? So know that fear is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as fear at all. You make it up in your mind. And the way to handle that is to understand that God is invincible. God is pure love, and fear can't exist in the world of pure love. So it goes back to make that connection with your higher self and keep it consistent. Make sure you stay there the whole time.
Okay.
So now we go to forgiveness.
How do you know you're working on forgiveness? That's the life lesson that you're going to work on.
Mm-hmm. So how do you know?
Oh, I was asking you.
Oh.
How do you know if you're working on the lesson of forgiveness?
That's what you chose, right?
Maybe because you, when things happen, you say, well, you know, well, they did that to me, or that happened to me, or it's always something happens to you.
Somebody is doing something to you.
There you
It's
go.
not something happens to you. Because if a ladder falls on you, you can't forgive the ladder. The ladder is not a person.
That's right. So it's always a person. So
It's always a person.
someone is always doing something to me.
That's correct.
Got it.
There's always someone, the person is mean to you, the person doesn't like you,
Uh-huh.
the person says something about you that wasn't true, right? But it always has to do with one person or a group of individuals. And they're always doing something to you that is
Right.
not positive. Otherwise, then it wouldn't be about forgiveness, right? You don't forgive someone for being nice to you.
Right, right.
So here's the thing, right? You said before, to forgive, it's one of the hardest things for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard because of all the things that they've been through. But by releasing the negative energy, see, the negative energy does what to you? It tightens the body.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded a video a long time ago about stress, what stress does to the body. I don't even remember that.
I do.
You may want to attach it to this one. Well, if you can't forgive first yourself, because people, there's some folks that are willing to forgive others but not themselves. Well, you have to learn to forgive yourself also. If you can't do that, your body is stressed. And then it starts to destroy itself. So then you have all kinds of illnesses, right? I won't go into all that. They could just watch the video, so
Right.
because it's all there, you know, what stress does. The biggest thing you can do is what? Unburden yourself of emotional stress. And then that karmic cycle then will be broken. It's nothing but karma. You know? But if you want to break that cycle, you need to learn to forgive. And again, we can help with that. And that was talked about in the previous video a little bit. Oh, no, that video was gone. This is take two. Never mind. All right. So now, let's go to grief.
Okay, grief.
Mm-hmm.
Grief.
Grief.
That's a life lesson?
Life lesson. How would you know that you chose grief as a life lesson?
Because everyone around you dies?
Yeesh.
I don't-
Grief that...
That's the only thing I associate with grief is death.
Have you ever lost something and you feel sad about it?
Oh, I guess I have, yes.
Exactly. So it's not about losing a person only. It's about you considering that you just lost something. Right.
Oh, well, that would also go with attachment, wouldn't it? Because that means you're attached to things?
I don't know.
Or you find yourself attached to
I'm just
things?
telling you, it's about grief. Right?
Okay.
And that feeling of loss.
Right.
There are people that when they watch sports, they get upset if their team loses.
Uh-huh.
That's grief. Because the team lost and they got upset.
Wow.
They get really upset. I've seen people throw things because they're mad.
Really?
When I played soccer, right, back where I came from, where I was born, got mad at me because I represented a different district. You know, we're British, right? So
Right.
I played with a different district, and when I went to play there, they threatened me. They're like, don't even get out of your hotel because we're gonna hurt you. You're not gonna play in this game. That's not even lost, but it's as lost. They saw me as a traitor because I was born there and I should have represented that district.
And if their team lost, then they'd be really upset. So that's their grief?
And their team lost. And the worst part is I was the one that scored. So it made it even worse. So you can see how that goes. So how do we deal with this grief? Well, just remember, something given to you and then taken away is an opportunity for you to appreciate having had it.
Okay. So being grateful for whatever the object or thing was or the person that was there in your life.
That's correct.
Okay.
You know, so did you take the person for granted? You know, maybe you didn't, but they're still precious memories, right? And they're gone in the physical. Nothing is gone forever, and nobody's gone forever. So just because someone is not here in the physical realm doesn't mean that the person is not there or the soul is not there in spirit. The beauty of that is you learn to communicate with them in spirit. That, boy, they're still around. And we have individuals that have that experience.
Oh, yes.
So, loss is a powerful learning tool, but know that it is only temporary. And if it's a person, it's definitely temporary because they can show up like the next day after they pass on. So I'd rather, I'll say this, I'd rather lose the person than a thing, even though I wouldn't care about the thing, right?
Right.
Because I know, for example, if like my uncle, Bertie, right, he passed on, and then within a couple of days, we were talking.
Oh, I thought it was the same day.
Oh, same day? Okay. Same day, we were talking.
Like with my dad.
So, okay, right.
Within just an hour or so.
Didn't go anywhere as far
Right.
as we're concerned, right? So that's the beauty of it. Yes, you chose that as a life lesson, but see, God always has a workaround to make sure that you're taken care of. And that's what we should always remember that. Yes, we choose a life lesson, but there's always that plan that He has in store for us to make sure that we're taken care of. We're not on this journey by ourselves.
Right. And you always have the memories from whatever it was that you feel you've lost.
Well, forget memories. When you can just talk to them directly, I don't.
Well, no, I'm talking about like the people at the sporting events. They have all those memories,
got it.
and
That's correct.
if they lost a physical thing, well, you have the memories of whatever that thing was.
Or just have it replaced.
Exactly.
Keep in mind that you can always manifest these things too.
Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.